Okay, so this is the 2017 for response question number 2. I remember when students took this test and there was so much on line about people complaining about this banana problem, that who cares about all these bananas. It was pretty funny. Well, anyhow, so we're going to try and solve this whole thing. You have the sheet in front of you, I hope. So the store opens, and when it opens, there are 50 pounds of bananas on a display table. So when it just opens, so at t equals 0, there are 50 bananas. Okay, that's going to be important. Okay, so customers remove the bananas with the f of t function. So this one is the remove. And then after a certain amount of hours, so after 3 hours, the employees start putting the bananas back on the table to refill it. And so this is the rate at which they're putting them back. So these are putting them back. Sorry, that's a little bit messy. Okay, so part A. We'll do one at a time. How many pounds of bananas are removed? So remember, this is the function up here for the removed. During the first 2 hours. So that means the whole 2 hours. So you have an accumulation of 2 hours. That means the integral from 0 to 2 of f of t dt. This is a calculator question. So you're going to take f of t, that's this big mess up here. I don't know why they have to make it so difficult. Your calculator should be in radians. You're going to pop that into your calculator, and your answer should be this. Okay, let's make sure we answer the question. How many pounds of bananas, so we have to add pounds, are removed from the table? So we don't have to worry about this 50 bananas when we started, because we're just being asked about how many were removed. So the, what was I going to say? The point values are as follows. If you just set up the integral, that got you 1 point, and then the final answer, that was 1 point. Okay, let's move on to part B. Okay, so B is asking for f prime of 7. So if we did not have such a complicated formula, we would have just used this f formula, found the derivative, and substituted in 7. But we do have a calculator. So you're going to go into that function that says n deriv on the calculator. And then you're just going to put in the f function, and you want it at 7. And thankfully, it will do all the work for you. And you're going to get a negative 8.12. And that, just doing that, that was worth 1 point. But now let's look at the question. Using the correct units, so that means we better use pounds in our answers. Explain the meaning of f prime of 7 in the context of the problem. So that means we have to talk about pounds and we have to talk about bananas, because we have to make it specific to this. So, negative 8.2 is the rate, right, because it's a derivative, so it's the rate at which, okay, so what is f? F is the bananas being removed, at which the customers are removing bananas from the table after 7 hours from opening. Okay, and that sentence was worth 1 point as well. Okay, let's move on to part C. Okay, so part C is a little bit more confusing. So we're trying to find out what's happening at t equals 5. Are the pounds of bananas on the table increasing or decreasing? Meaning, are people buying the bananas faster than they're replacing the bananas? That's pretty much what they're saying. So we need to find out what's happening at f of 5. So remember, if f of 5 is bananas removing from the being removed, and g of 5 is going to be bananas added. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So we're going to do the bananas added, minus the bananas that are being removed, and we're going to see if we have a positive or negative number. So you're just going to use your functions up here, put 5 into each, and you should get negative 2.263. So since that's negative, we have to give a reason, so we're going to say the number of bananas is decreasing because g of 5 minus f of 5 is negative. Okay, and so let me give you the point values on that. If you just consider these, you don't have to do anything with them, you got a point, and then your answer with the reason was a point. So it wasn't too many points because they know that that one's a little bit tricky. All right, and finally we have part D. Okay, and now we're happy because it's the last part. So how many pounds of bananas are actually on this table at t equals 8? Okay, so let's figure this out. So we started out with 50. Okay, then we have to see how many did we add. But remember, they only started adding more bananas starting at t equals 3. So we're going to add the bananas going from 3 until 8 because we're being asked at t equals 8. And that's the function g of t. But then we have to take away all the bananas that customers took. So customers took bananas from 0 to 8, and that's from f of t dt. Okay, so you're going to use your calculator for all of this, and you will get 23.3473. Let's look at the question, how many pounds? So we're going to make sure we write pounds. And the point values were 1 point just for writing this, 1 point for writing this, and then 1 point for the answer. So even though part C was kind of difficult, part D was a little bit easier, and they didn't even give you any points for adding the extra 50. So if you did it without the 50, you could still get 2 out of the 3 points. So it really wasn't that terrible. Okay, and that finishes that problem.